Now I'm going to ask Paul Palmoza to share his wisdom on Bhagavad Gita and entrepreneurship and his experience about the values that Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. Paul, it's all yours. We are told that each presenter will confine to 8 to 9 minutes so that we can keep the things in check. And I will refrain from adding my 8 or 9 minutes. Just thread in between. Thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you, Dr. Kanoria, for the invitation. And brothers and sisters of India and all over the world, it's an honor to be here. I've been before, but each time it's different. I'm going to speak about the question of values. And we've been developing a program to help communicate the message to the business community. We can communicate it to many people that are oriented to the spiritual way, but to try and communicate that spiritual message to business requires that we speak a language that they can understand. And the language we're going to use is the language of values. Now, what are values? Many people have been speaking about the Shakti, the power. Well, the analogy we use is that our true nature is like the sun, but it gets covered over by our own ego ideas and thoughts. And our task in life is to remove the covers so that the light, which is there all the time, can shine. Those rays of light that come out are the Shakti. These are the values: love, patience, compassion. They're natural to us. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, gives 26 of these divine qualities. The Gita is full of these values or qualities, which are natural. So, I'm going to just use this, explain a little bit about how we're communicating the message. We use this online technology because what we're trying to do is reach a lot of young people beginning to get in business. I'm a guest lecturer at Regent's University in their business school, and I've given lectures other places, and many young people look at the values governing big business and they don't want to go there. And they're more motivated to start up their own business. So we're using approaches like e-learning and a values app. And our aim is to show that business can be ethical and effective, principled and profitable, conscious and commercial. You've got to have the practical dimension. But the beauty of the spirituality is it applies to all aspects of life. And this is the part that we're trying to communicate. So the way we've structured this is that it's the application of the values in the performance of 9 core management functions. Practical. We have to keep it that way if we're going to get an effective message across. So, and we formed a not-for-profit organization to do this. So we have one version that's an email version that will be for free, and then something a bit more in-depth, including 100 videos. And for communicating with young people, videos are a good instrument. And as there's so many young people here, we're going to try and show you a video or two. I'm not sure it's going to work, but we'll give it a try. And also an e-book. So these are the instruments that we're using. And this is the table of contents of the e-book. And as you can see, we're even addressing subjects like inspiring leadership and meditation. How does meditation help leaders be more inspiring, more authentic? And also ethical decision-making. This is quite an issue today in the world because business all too often does or says anything to get the business. And a mindfulness exercise helps with others bring us to a better sense of stillness. So I'm going to give you a look at how we're trying to communicate this message. And one of the key values in business is, in life, is trust. So it speaks about, if you can see that trust, like a vase once broken, is not easy to put back together. And over the last 20, 30 years, trust in business has gone down because of businesses' short-term focus on financial gains. For me, we need more we in business. We use quotes from different traditions, East and West, secular and spiritual. This is a well-known management guru in the practical sense. But trust is essential. Without trust, you don't have business. And there's been a lot of a disruptive effect of a lot of greed that's been going on. This is results of a study that's been going on for maybe 20 or 30 years, where people around the world are asked, who do you trust? Doctors, nurses, teachers, etc. And there's been a steady downhill move in trusting business leaders. It's now toward the bottom with estate agents and politicians. So this is something we need to restore this. When I first started in business, you could do business with a shake of the hand because you'd keep your word. It's changed now, and because of that, you do an agreement with a big American company, and we did one in 2010. We had to sign a 47-page agreement. All that excess is there because there's a lack of trust. My word is my bond is no longer practiced. We've included a mindfulness exercise in all our daily offerings. Bring one to stillness, and then we offer them a question, a self-reflecting question about the application of that value, in this case trust, to my life. We want to move away from this talking about it without living it, and give someone, rather than just quotes, give him something that they can reflect on and say, how can I be more generous? What blocks me, etc. Now, I don't know whether this is going to work, but yeah.
Shoop 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 bidu bidu shoop 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 bidu bidu. Morning, good morning, rise and shine. Today's the day I make you mine.
You don't want to be like him.
The sun is rising over the hill. I know it's gonna be a wonderful day. So morning, good morning, rise and shine. Shoop 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 bidu bidu. Loveliness is so sublime. Shoop, shoop,
We're here today because we want to make the world a better place. A world without suffering. A world without injustice. But we can only do that by setting our own example. By being our most authentic selves. So, be the change you want to see. Live the life you were born to live. Be true to your values. And be that change today.
The message is, don't be like him. Now, here's an example of a positive aspect.
Martinez, have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Been very productive your first month here. You do good work.
I'm very grateful to be here.
Well, Mr. Martinez, the reason I called you in here is that I'm looking for an additional manager to oversee inventory and shipping. Carries more responsibility, but it pays more. Sound like something you might be interested in?
Yes, I would.
But before I make my final decision, I'd like for you to work a shift in that department next week. You'll see a list of 17 crates coming in on this sheet. Now, one of those crates will be going to a separate warehouse. Mr. Martinez, when you report the inventory, I'd like for you to report that we received 16 crates.
17 are coming in. But you want me to write down 16?
Yes, that's right. I have another purpose for the extra crate. You are on my team, right? Because I really can't use people who aren't on my team. Tell you what, you think about it tonight and give me your answer in the morning. Make it 10 o'clock. But I'll need to know if you really want this.
Look, I think that was a bit muddled, but he was basically asked, I want you to, 17 came in, I want you to say 16. And he said, well, I find that difficult. So he told him, go home, come back tomorrow. He went home, he had a lot of pressure from home he wants to get that job. But he came back and he said, sorry, I can't lie like that. It's against my nature, against the nature. And the chap goes, you can have the job. That's the answer I wanted. I need to find someone I can trust. I mean, we don't have the time to go through it, but it's kind of videos along with interviews of senior business people like Dr. Canoria, Raul, and others, Lord Villamoria, telling their stories about how working to values really works. And we think that will help convince young people to work that way. Because the need and the hope is that young people and this whole millennial generation, they're not pleased with the working conditions, and they are more values-oriented, and we have to help them live that. So the great hope is that a number of young entrepreneurs and courageous business leaders, like the Canoria family, will help change the rigid pattern in business with their overemphasis on short-term financial gains. Focus on values, and then they can become responsible, sustainable business. And we want to help that. So, thank you very much.